Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka Day. Today's Shloka is Shloka number 59 of chapter 18. Yadahankaramashritya
Yadahankaramashritya
Nayotsya iti manyase
Totsya iti manyase
Mithyaisha vyavasayaste
Mithyaisha vyavasayaste
Prakritistvam niyokshati.
Prakritistvam niyokshyati.
Word for word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Yat,
Yet
if, ahankaram, of false ego,
of false ego,
ashritya,
taking shelter,
nayotsye,
nayotsye,
I shall not fight, iti, thus, manyase, you think, mithya eshaha, this is all false, vyavasayaha, determination, your, prakritihi, material nature, tvam, you, niyokshati, will engage. Translation: if you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed.
Then you will be false nature.
Then you will be falsely directed.
Then you will be falsely directed.
By your nature,
you
will have to be engaged in warfare.
You will have to be engaged in warfare.
So Srila Prabhupada writes a short purport. Arjuna was a military man and born of the nature of the Kshatriya. Therefore, his natural duty was to fight. But due to false ego, he was fearing that by killing his teacher, grandfather, and friends, he would incur sinful reactions. Actually, he was considering himself master of his actions, as if he were directing the good and bad results of such work. He forgot that the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present there, instructing him to fight. That is the forgetfulness of the conditioned soul. The Supreme Personality gives directions as to what is good and what is bad. And one simply has to act in Krishna consciousness to attain the perfection of life. No one can ascertain his destiny as the Supreme Lord can. Therefore, the best course is to take direction from the Supreme Lord and act. No one should neglect the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the order of the Spiritual Master, who is the representative of God. One should act unhesitatingly to execute the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That will keep one safe under all circumstances. So essentially, the Lord is saying in the shloka that if we don't follow his instructions, then it is going to be detrimental for us. Detrimental in what way? It will be detrimental materially, it will also be detrimental spiritually. So the Lord is saying, well, actually, you don't have a choice. You have to listen to me. Speaking in a chastising mood, Sri Krishna now delivers a word of caution. We should not think we have complete liberty to do what we wish. The soul does not lead an independent existence. It is dependent upon God's creation in many ways. In the materially bound state, it is under the influence of the three gunas. The combination of gunas creates our nature, and according to its dictates, we are compelled to act. Hence, we do not have absolute freedom to say, I will do what I like. We have to choose between the good advice of God and the scriptures or the compulsions of our nature. It's very nicely stated, no? What is the choice? The choice is to follow the Lord's instructions or to act according to how the three gunas are influencing us. There is an anecdote regarding one's nature. A soldier retired after 30 years of service and returned to his hometown. One day he was standing in the coffee shop drinking a cup of tea when a friend thought of a practical joke. He screamed from behind, "Attention!" Responding to that command had become a part of the soldier's nature. Involuntarily, he dropped the cup from his hand and put his hands by his side. Shri Krishna warns Arjuna that by nature he is a warrior. And if out of pride he decides not to listen to good advice, his Kshatriya nature will still compel him to fight. So the three gunas influence us so strongly that you're not able to distinguish between how the three gunas are influencing you and who you are. In the sense, they call this second nature. So whatever you have practiced becomes second nature. So every time we say, sometimes we give reasons, but for example, if you get angry, oh, I have to exhibit my anger because if I contain it within me, it will anyway explode like a volcano. So I've heard people say that I have to express myself that way. Who is this I? The I you're referring to here is actually not you, right? Your anger is not you. If the soul is Satchidananda, where is the anger coming from? The anger belongs to the subtle body. So when we say things like, I am feeling this way, or this is the emotions that I'm going through, all your emotions are actually manufactured in the mind. So technically speaking, all of this is your subtle body. So you have assumed your subtle body to be you. So if you remind yourself, I am actually Satchidananda. I am eternal. I am all knowledgeable. and I am all blissful. So that I is your spirit soul. Oftentimes we confuse the I, and when we say I, we are referring to the body, either the physical body or the subtle body. So when you focus on the physical body, on the subtle body, I, that is what is called false ego. In the sense that you've assumed that this mind which is manufacturing so many emotions, that is you. But that is not you. You are the spirit soul. So it is very hard to come to this stage, which is called Brahma Bhuta stage. But we confuse. I means spirit soul. But when that spirit soul is covered and the gunas have taken over, then the gunas dictate who you are, or make you feel that your mind and your intelligence and your body are who you are. So that's why the Lord is saying here, if you're dictated by false ego, you will anyway fight. Even if you want to go to the forest, even if you want to give up this particular battle, you will go fight something else in the forest because that's your second nature. Because you have been trained by your gunas to act in a certain way. And if you're not ready to really understand what renunciation is, then it is better to renounce while you're actually performing your duties and responsibilities. Because renunciation as a topic is a very, very unique thing that only very few people are able to actually physically renounce. I was listening to a pravachan just before this class. In that, there was a pastime of Sant Namadev. He's a great saint in the Vitala tradition. So, such a great saint, One day, his hut caught fire. And everybody knows this is Sant Namadev's hut. So they all rushed to rescue the hut, douse out the fire, try to save what they could from the fire. And at that time, Sant Namadev was not in his kutir. So later on, the locals rushed to wherever Namadev was and tell Sant Namadev please come quickly, your hut has completely burnt down. And they showed him, see, these are all the things that we could save. Some chadar, some mat and something like that. So Namadev chastised them. He tells them, see, Lord himself came as fire. Why did you prevent the Lord from having what he wanted to have? And the locals thought, hey, wait a minute, we've taken the trouble to save all of your things, and this is how you're chastising us. So Namadev said, take everything and burn it. Whatever you were rescued, you take it and burn it. Because if the Lord himself came as fire to take everything away from me, whatever little that I had, why did you all interfere? So that night, Namadev lays on the ashes, that same place which has burnt down his house. Sant Namadev lays down there to rest. At that time, Lord Narayana tells Rukmini Devi, go call Garudadev, ask him to go construct a very nice kutir where Namadev is laying down. So Garudadev comes and he builds a beautiful kutir. Lots of flowers, greenery, everything. Next day morning, the villagers came and they told Namadev, hey Namadev, we didn't know that you had the capacity to build such a beautiful kutir. How did this happen? And Sant Namadev tells them, actually, if you want a kutir as beautiful as this, today you go set your house on fire. Tomorrow, the Lord will build you something much more beautiful. Of course, this is the concept of renunciation, right? It is very few and far between. We cannot experience this kind of renunciation. We are grahasthas. So we will go through ups and downs and ups and downs. But great saints, they are completely detached from it. So essentially, Krishna is telling Arjuna, you've not developed that level of detachment. So even though the situation is very trying and tough, you may want to run away to the forest, but your nature will follow you like a shadow, because that is what you've been trained. Therefore, Krishna advises in the Bhagavad Gita for all of us, because the majority of us are grihasthas who are going to be reading the Bhagavad Gita, that for all of us, we have to practice renunciation in a way in which our duties become dovetailed with Krishna's will. If Krishna wanted Arjuna to go away to the forest, he would have said, great decision you've made. I approve. But here, Krishna is actually chastising Arjuna. For the, after the second chapter, when Krishna says, what you're speaking, all big words, but you don't know anything. After that, Krishna is chastising Arjuna here. He says, well, in case you want to make your own decision and do whatever you want, then I can tell you that any which way, you will be engaged in war. So it's after this, Krishna says, I have told you whatever I wanted to tell you. You contemplate and do what you want. So what is Krishna's expectation that we can understand from this shloka? The same thing he instructed in the previous shloka. He said, if you do as per my will, you will be protected. Everything will be perfectly fine. Here he is speaking the opposite. If you do not act as per my direction, then you will end up creating more problems for yourself. So running away is not an option. So hence Krishna is saying, if you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. Falsely directed by your own nature. By your own nature, Krishna says, Arjuna, you will anyway be engaged in warfare, because that's what you've trained for. That's what comes naturally to you. That's the essence of this shloka.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.